Will Arsenal struggle next season? Let's just say Arsenal fans aren't as confident as they were at the end of last pre-season. Let's start where everyone is thinking, and that is the striker position. Gabriel Jesus, he's been ruled out for the next few weeks. Oh dear. I mean, it's another knee injury. It's not good.
Not again.
But let's be real, even when he is playing, he's an excellent player, but he's not a proven out-and-out goal scorer. Now, I think Nketiah is too hit and miss for me. Balogun seemingly going. He's been left out. Supposed injury. Probably not. So he will most likely be moved on if the right offer comes in, that is. Now, what do we do about this position? Do we sign another striker? I don't know if we do. I mean, I think I'd love to. I'm sure like Arteta might want to. But is that the best place to buy right now? Probably not. If you think there's a few players who can play in that kind of position, you've got Trossard, who has been exceptional this tour, scored a brace against Barcelona, unbelievable. He's just been the spark in attack, which is really nice to see. Maybe Arteta could give him a try, that like kind of false nine, like centre forward position. That would be quite nice to see. Obviously, we know Martinelli can play there. It's just whether we want him to. It's another thing. And then, of course, we brought in Kai Havertz, who, again, at Chelsea, didn't really hit the ground running. He scored a big goal in the Champions League. That's all anyone ever talks about. But is he good enough to take over that striker position while you've got Gabriel Jesus out or Eddie's not firing? I don't know. But there's options there. There's options and you'll get goals from somewhere. But our midfield's changing up as well. Let's move on to this next point. Kai Havertz. Now, we've seen in pre-season, Kai Havertz has kind of played in that Granit Xhaka role, as it were, last season, which is a bit box to box. I don't see him being there permanently. It seems to me a bit like Arteta is trying a system with like two number 10s almost. Like Havertz is kind of playing that creative attacking position as well as Martin Odegaard on the other side. It doesn't completely make sense for me, yeah? It's a new system. It looks like Arteta's trying and experimenting a lot this pre-season, which I think is what is giving a lot of Arsenal fans a bit of fear. But I think overall Havertz is a decent signing. I don't know if I'd start him every game. Probably wouldn't, to be honest. I'd probably start him on the bench. And to be honest, he'd be a great aerial threat if we want to chuck on like a big lad near the end of the game to try and get a winner. I'm not against it. But let's move on to another signing now, and that is Declan Rice, the big money signing Declan Rice. Now, I believe, and I think a lot of fans in the football world believe Rice will succeed here. He will succeed. He will get better as he gets more ingrained into the Arteta philosophy and the system. Now, obviously, we signed him from a mid to low kind of Premier League team in West Ham. I think he's still kind of got that mid to low level Premier League team ingrained in his system at the moment, which scares me a tiny bit. I actually think he won't hit the ground running as quick as we think. I think maybe it might even take him a year to kind of get used to this new system, because it is a very different style of play. But obviously you never know. He's been in the Premier League long enough. He should be able to adapt. Fingers crossed for that. But again, it just changes the dynamic in that midfield. If you're going to play Rice and you're going to play Partey, they're both going to be quite defensive. What do we do about that? Now, here's a big point in why Arsenal fans are possibly a little bit cautious going into the season. I think Arteta has been experimenting a ridiculous amount, even in the last game of our pre-season, which was against Monaco. The amount of different positions our fullbacks and our defensive line have played during pre-season is kind of astounding. Obviously, we brought in Jurriën Timber, who I think is going to be the star. He's going to be unbelievable. But we've also seen him being played on the right and the left, and he's another one of them fullbacks who invert into the midfield. I think he's brilliant at it, but it leaves us very, very open when he does come into the midfield. If we have Zinchenko the other side, oh my god, we're going to have no defence. The counter-attacks this pre-season have been a problem for us, a massive, massive problem for Arsenal. And it feels like one through ball and they're through, and instantly we're having to do recovery runs. We're going to have to bring Ramsdale out and try and close the gap. It's horrendous, and it's happened in most of all of the games that we've seen so far in pre-season. So I think that is the kind of thing that is really stressing the fans out. Let me know down below what your preferred back four for Arsenal would be to start the season. I think I'd actually start Ben White right back. I'd start Gabriel, Saliba, and possibly actually Timber at left back. He was actually quite good there. And I think White would be able to just sit back a little bit, not to leave us too exposed. But yeah, I just think it's been a bit too overcomplicated. I think we haven't found our rhythm yet. We're not ticking. There's too much experimenting going on.
I'm not a scientist anymore.
As I said in the last game against Monaco, Fabio Vieira played the entire 90 minutes and the penalties from right wing. I mean, is that Arteta saying, look, we can't get a right winger right now? I don't know, but that stresses me out greatly. And this moves me on to the next point. Do Arsenal need another right winger? Now, as much as we love Saka, he is a gem. He will be one of the best in the world. Almost already is, if he continues like this, easily. But when he goes through that quiet spell, we need someone pushing him, because at the moment, there is no one that even competes with Saka. Not even like slightly. The drop-off is so big that it is quite worrying. If Saka does pick up a knock, which, I mean, he gets kicked enough every game, we could be in serious trouble. I say we just bring Nicolas Pepe back. But all jokes aside, we saw it last season, especially near the end. Martinelli maybe goes on a couple games where he's not firing. You bring in Trossard, you bring in like Reece Nelson. You can even put Emil Smith-Rowe on that side. You can put Gabriel Jesus on the left. There was a lot of rotation on that left side where just everything kept changing, essentially. But Saka was just the mainstay. No one could replace Saka. The only right winger I would say that we could use this season is probably Marquinhos. I mean, the other guys are mainly focused on the left wing. And then obviously Fabio Vieira, he's been trying there, but I just don't see him as a winger. I see him more as that kind of Odegaard role in behind. But I just think a right winger would be huge. And if we have the money for it, if we sell a few players, we need a couple of outgoings before we buy anyone else. But if we sell a few players, I'd say bring in a right winger, a good cover for Saka, where we're not worrying if he does pick up a knock or we need to rest him for a game. We know that whoever is there can do a job. I mean, speaking of the money for a winger, it's been rumoured that we're in for David Raya from Brentford for around 40 million. Not too sure about that. It's a bit of a mad one. Now, I've seen both sides of this. I've seen why this could be a really smart and ruthless bit of business, and also why it could really overcomplicate things again. Don't get me wrong, David Raya is the unreal cover, if not our first team player, but is he what we need right at this second? I mean, if we bring him in, does that mean we can't now get another right winger, or we can't get like another midfielder if we need more cover in the midfield? I don't know. I think it depends who else comes in, who else goes out. If Raya comes in, we can't really judge it just by this right now. But if it's going to halt us from getting cover for Saka, then it's an issue. If we're choosing that over the right winger position, I think that's where you got trouble. But I think overall it's going to be a very interesting season for Arsenal. I can just see the little underlying issues that I'm hoping get resolved very quickly. We've got around like 8 days before the season starts, so we don't have too long. It'll be interesting to see what we do for the Community Shield against Man City. But we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Cheers very much for watching, guys. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon.